The light's not great here, but these are all test samples that we did with different finished plaster mixes. And these are all mixtures of different kinds of clay, different kinds of sand, different fibers, including chopped straw, screened horse manure, paper pulp, flour paste, and in some cases some pigment, like this one has some yellow ochre pigment added to it. It's not a paint. This is actually the color of the plaster. The finished plaster, which goes on about 1/4 of an inch thick or so, has that color embedded all the way through it, which makes it a little bit more durable. The other option is to just paint with a natural paint over the finished plaster. In that case, the color is only skin deep. It's just a very, very thin layer. And if the wall gets scratched or gouged or something, you'll see the color of the plaster through the paint. So that would be a reason to do something like this, where you're actually mixing your color into your plaster mix. When you're working with clay soil, and especially if you're working with a clay soil that you haven't worked with before, it requires doing a certain amount of testing to make sure that you're going to get a result. That's what you want. The one that we ended up selecting was this one up here. So we were trying to get a very hard, durable plaster surface that would be smooth, attractive to look at. We wanted to come up with a recipe that we could replicate. So we did a whole bunch of different tests using different soil types, different sizes of sand, different kinds of fibers, etc., in slightly different ratios. And then based on these, we did some scratch tests and we did some water tests on these to see how they would hold up both to water and especially to just wear and tear. And these are some examples of natural paints, which are clay-based. These are going over a pretty rough surface. They're just going over a base coat. It doesn't give you a really accurate view of what it would look like if it went over a smoother surface. If you don't get your finished plaster to a color that you like, it's very, very easy to mix up a natural paint. Pretty much just a mixture of clay and some kind of pigment, preferably a natural non-toxic pigment like iron oxide or yellow ochre. And we also use flour paste as a stabilizer in our earthen paints. And you can paint that over virtually any surface. It actually doesn't have to be an earthen surface. And it's a very, very simple way to make your own non-toxic paint for very inexpensive.